Mr. Garsen, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate it. For folks who don't know Garsen Golf and the story of how you kind of got into here, can you kind of give us the elevator version of how Garsen Golf began and where you are today?
Uh, we can make it a long, short story, basically. I played golf as a kid, got injured racing motorcycles, got out of golf, got back into golf after 9/11. I was working as a commercial actor model for many years. So after that died, I kind of got back in the golf industry. I went to work out at Doral. Within 6 months, I was in charge of all golf operations and outside services. I started thinking about playing golf again in my mid 40s. I was training to get on the Champions Tour, got injured again. So through injury, I became an assistant pro, started teaching. And through teaching, I kind of realized and learned a lot about more about body positioning, body setup, putting flaws, and all this mainly. And realizing that is one of the most important aspects of the game. I started thinking about how I can help golfers become better putters. So I went home one night and cut apart 3 grips and glued them together with shoe glue and came up with the initial design of the edge grip. So that whole process, probably from start to finish, probably took 5 years, to be honest with you, because from going to China to finding a factory, going through 5 factories in a year, it was almost a 3-year process with the USGA to get it approved. So 7 different submissions with the USGA and getting the first grip approved. So all of that meant retooling, redesigning a little bit different way, because each time you presented a product for approval, they don't tell you exactly how much they want you to change. Well, this isn't approved because it's not conforming because of this or because of that. So it's not like change this, and that at one time. Every time I submitted it, they were coming up back and forth the little things that had to be altered. So after, like I said, 2.5 years, I finally, reached out to Carter Rich, said, well, listen, are you going to approve this or not? Because it's been a long process. And his basic response was, things are that easy to get a product approved for the USGA. You can just imagine how many products we have out there, because even just a patent approval for a putter grip, that takes quite a while as well. And if you ever to do patent searches for grips for putters, you would be amazed on
There's a
how
lot.
much stuff is really out there. But doesn't mean it's conforming to the USGA. So all that being said and done, it's a long process. So then after that all got started and getting approved to get out on the PGA Tour, to get my credentials, I had to get a exempted player on tour to say he was using my product. So you can't just like say, I
Yeah,
want to
just
get out on
show up.
tour and go get a badge. That's another process. So I was able at the time, Fulton Elam, I've known his daughters, for a while. We're good friends. And she kind of gave me, put me in contact with their dad. And, he was playing the Champions Tour. He agreed, he was using the grip. So I actually was ended up doing that. Long story short, after Fulton, many other guys got on board. So in order to stay on tour, you need to have a certain amount of play that's listed on the Darrell survey.
Okay.
So you can't just get a badge and stay out there. You still have to show that you're on there and being consistently used. So that's not an issue now. I have, many players using the product now and many tour wins and things like that. So after getting on tour, it probably took 3-4 months before I was even getting any recognition out there by anybody. And then also that when I first got on tours, when the craze went crazy about the super stroke, the fatter grips, then after being out there with the edge grip, I had to now design a fatter grip to be competitive. So, so that's kind of like, you want to talk about a story and a process. It's like I say, to where I am now, it's amazing how long the process is to where how quickly things can change just in a matter of a month's time,
Yeah.
and that's the way things are going now. Because, being out there for as long as I've been out there, 7 years now on tour, a lot of people still don't even know who Garsen Golf is, to be honest with you.
But as you rack up these tour wins, and you're 56 now, which
Right,
is no
56,
small
right,
accomplishment,
right.
it does each kind of successive win, does that lead to maybe another pro coming with an email or a text or a phone call like, hey, I might be interested in trying the grips, or can you meet me here and we could talk about it? Or does that kind of
It,
make its own kind of
it,
stumbling
it,
block of
it
collecting moss?
definitely does. It definitely does. I mean, for instance, I just returned this past week because I travel almost weekly with the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour, which I just recently started doing more because of my success out there with Lydia and Brooke. and also the Corn Ferry Tour. But this past week, I was out on the LPGA Tour. I picked up 7 more players this week just because of the recognition of Lydia and Brooke using the grip.
Wow.
The girls that actually come to me and the players that ask me, well, is this the grip that Lydia is using? And so it does do that. And, with being out on the PGA Tour, a lot is also gaining it's kind of like dating. You almost have to gain, a relationship with a player, with a coach, because they want to understand too that you're there for them,
Right.
that they can depend on you and trust you. I have players contact me and call me, hey, Bernie, can you send me some grips? I'm trying out some new putters. Sure, I'll overnight them. What do you need? Where do you want me to send them?
Yeah.
Coach is doing the same. I'm working with X players this week. Can you send me grips? So you really got to show that you're there to support them. I mean, there's enough politics and things I deal with on the PGA Tour just to imagine I can't even imagine what the OEMs go through to keep guys in products. I know it's contracts, it's money, but there's a lot of things that go on out on tour. The politics aside from everything else, just trying to get a grip in a guy's hands of even keeping it there once they get it. So it's a process and it remains a process. So yeah.
Is the relationship piece of forming that relationship with a player, especially in the PGA Tour, is that more of a big deal for you being a smaller brand compared to a big OEM trying to put something together with a player? Or is it as much product as it is relationship?
It's definitely both. Because to be honest with you, I'm not going to mention, there's a lot of incentives out there that the companies offer. One of the companies will give players a men's and ladies Rolex watch if they win at their putter grip.
That's
I mean,
that's a carrot.
that's a pretty good incentive for a player to think about. Well, hey, not only am I going to win, but this grip's giving me this company's going to offer me Rolex watches just for a putter grip to put it in play. So being a smaller company and not having, the cash flow behind me as of yet, but it's getting better. Everything I've done on my own. Built the company on my own. All the money that's from the success has gone back into the company, built where it is now. Like I say, started with one grip. I have 7 different designs now. Each one of those designs has one on tour. So it's not like I'm just, curating putter grips to create a putter grip. It's like being out on tour. I talk to players, I talk to coaches. What else is there I can do to help you to make things better? Because I'm sure you're aware of my initial grip, the max grip, the edge grip is actually the max is the grip that Henrik Stenson won with. So all my grips are focused more around getting the perfect setup, getting you more locked in, getting a more repetitive setup, creating a more natural feeling, consistent putting stroke. And all that's going to lead to becoming a better player and winning tournaments. So in order to try to get a player to believe in this, first of all, you've got to get over the fact that, it feels different. The max grip, that's the biggest thing guys ever tell me, wow, it feels really weird. Well, of course it feels weird. It's different. Nobody said that. No, exactly. Nobody ever said that what we were taught with was the best thing out there. We were all taught how to putt one way with the thumbs right down the middle, because that's basically what we all had available to us.
Yeah.
Nobody said it was right or wrong, but that's what we were given. And after teaching and, like I say, watching people and learning all that, I realized that it wasn't the best thing out there. And now with all that's available, we're able to prove that my grips do benefit you in a better way and will do and create all those things I just told you about. I've known for years and years that I've had a great product. I've done some minimal research and data work, but now we just actually did a intensive study at the University of Utah that actually proves my max grip outperforms standard putter grips probably by 99.5% of any other grip out on the market.
Wow.
In all different types of putting, what it's going to do to your face angle, what the type of roll it's putting on the ball, the distance from the hole, it just everything that we tested, it showed that the max grip benefits. Now, from the max grip, I took that design concept and put into the quad tour line, which is a more traditional style grip, but with the same benefits as the max grip.
So, as an entrepreneur, I mean, you're not totally a one-man band, but that's kind of the ethos of the company. How do you try to balance out trying to make a great product, responding to consumers, but also at the same time responding to those validating tour pros, and then doing all of the other stuff you got to do to run an actual business. And oh, by the way, you travel to tour events every week.
Exactly. Up to this point, the beginning of the year, I did it all on my own. I would travel on tour, come home, put out the website orders. I would put out the distribution orders. I would basically doing it all because in the past, granted, I did hire a couple guys to help me out, and it turned out I was like, you know what? I was doing better on my own. I'm paying guys I thought were going to help me do distribution, and a lot of things had to be cleaned up because they were getting product distributed to companies that say they're distributors overseas. Next thing you know, the grip's on a discount website.
Yeah.
Retailers like, I can't compete with their prices. Why do I want to take on your product? So I had to, I went through points and times of cleaning up the company. It took 2 years at a time to get stuff cleaned up that people have, gave me a bad rap or a bad name because they were, undervaluing the product.
Yeah.
So I stopped for a while. I was doing things on my own, but just things started growing so much I couldn't handle it anymore. It was a constant 24-hour a day, 7-day a week job. And like I'm saying, just traveling with the tour alone as well. So I teamed up with Super Speed because, that all started with me also traveling on tour, repping other products out on tour to help benefit me and gain a little bit more cash flow with helping out with the hotel stays, the airfares and renting cars and everything else. So through that, being with Super Speed, when I first got the job with them, I just told them, listen, I'm going to take your company and rep you as I'm not an employee, not a rep, but I'm repping your company because I'm repping my company out there. I'm going to take it more as a business side. So we developed a relationship that way. And after about 6 months, Kyle and Mike approached me and said, listen, we have, watched your product. We know you have a great product, but we're doing a lot of research. You have no recognition out there as a company. We're here to help you. We want to help you. Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? And explain, like I just explained to you, I've done all these things, but kind of like on the wrong foot. Didn't get
Yeah.
started off in the right direction. So Super Speed kind of went through the same thing I did in the beginning. That is why now they have everything in-house. They have their own distribution companies, all overseas. They have do all their own websites. So they took all that on board with me. As a company, now we're kind of like under their umbrella as a company. They're give them the numbers they need for distribution, the percentage on things. So they have really helped me on growing the company. They've allowed me now to be more free with doing the, social media stuff that they're controlling as well. Because on top of all that, I was also trying to do social media. I
Yeah.
wasn't in tune enough yet to do the videos at TikTok, which we are now, which is just a short amount of time, the amount of followers and all the views we're getting on the videos and everything else, how much that really has expanded the business on the side too. Because being able to track the website business and see how much sales have increased, I mean, it's incredible just on the website business alone, just because a little bit of marketing, what it's actually done. Yeah.
So I guess where do you go? Like, what's kind of your next 12 to 24 months of thinking? What's the most important thing to you as the founder of the company? But
Right.
is that the same thing as what's most important to the business of Garsen Golf?
Well, right now, what I'm looking at is still the tour presence. You have to have a presence out there. I want to be able to have a rep out there on every tour and not have to travel as much. But being out on tour as long as I have been, I see work ethics, how other people work, what the mentality is out there. I just want to hire somebody to put a bag out there and walk away and come back at 5 o'clock, pick
Right.
up the bag. I think one of the reasons I've had success is because coaches and everybody else, they know my backbone. They know the whole process that you're the one that developed the product. You're the one that can explain the product. You're the one that's going to make somebody understand what this product is doing. And that is why I think I've gained quite a reputation out there of being a hard worker, not stopping. Like right now, it's really good to know that there's a little bit more time and freedom now with all the COVID stuff that happened in China with factory development and shipping issues, that things are kind of getting back into normal, where I'm back in development now with 2 more grips that I'm working on that are in the process of relaunch, of introducing and launching into the company within the next 6 months. Actually working on more stuff. So it's just continuing to grow. I'm not stopping because I know there's even more room for advancement and development in the products I have now. It's kind of like, well, what can I do now to make this product better? Just from listening to players, well, I like this, but you know what? If this had a little more of this, a little bit of that, I mean, it's being able to be out there and get the insight of what these guys think will make things better and being able to do that. I mean, it's really important because to take feedback and actually say, "Oh, that's great," but what am I going to do with it? But to actually show these guys that I'm listening and I'm like, "Hey,
Yeah.
listen, I remember we talked about this. What do you think of this now?"
And how do you kind of forge? I mean, I know it's kind of impossible on a one-to-one basis, but how do you kind of forge that relationship with the recreational golfer and say, hey, look, some of the best players in the world trust my stuff. They've won
right.
with it. They've been tremendously successful with it under highly stressful conditions. But this is going to benefit you, the average golfer, maybe even more, even in your $1 Nassau. And here's why. How do you make that connection?
Oh, definitely, and 100% it will benefit them more. That's what we're doing now with mainly with social media, and also with all the reviews on the website and all the reviews we're doing with other companies for them to like listen. I could talk to them blue in the face and tell you what a great product I have. And that's one thing I told the guys. We need to get more information out there from other people, other outlets where people are going to listen to them and not just me, you know? So I think the more people are hearing it and seeing on reading all the reviews, reading all the reviews that people are putting on the website, the feedback we're getting on social media, I think once the general public sees that, and when they play with somebody that actually has their grip and they see how much better they're playing, or they can just put it in their hands and try it themselves, I mean, it's great validation when I have somebody that actually will put it in their hands and come back and say, like this week, be honest with you, I had two girls say, "Can you blow the grip off my putter in case I don't like it? Your grip, you'll put the grip back on." I said, "Definitely. I'm not here to say, listen, let's just cut this off. I guarantee you, I want you to try it. If you don't like it, that's your opinion. But I said, just give me 5, 10 minutes, putt with it, tell me what you think." And for the girl to come back, say, "You know what? I'm not even worried about that grip. You have a couple more of these so I can have as backups." I mean, that validation right there is enough. It's like if you're gonna if I can tell you, just give it 5 minutes. You know what? And after 5 minutes, what you feel is what I'm telling you. And that's basically all I ask people. Listen, before you knock it, give me 5 minutes. And basically that's all it's gonna take. Because granted, anything we do in our life, change is different. A lot of times people don't even want to give change a chance. But if you give this a chance, I guarantee you, we all want to become a better player. We all want to be able to hit the ball better. We all want to putt better. But in order to do that, it doesn't happen just because somebody tells you, "Okay, try this."
Right.
You have to go through the process and give it time. And see, the thing is, out on tour, there's so much availability of these guys on new products, new putters, new irons, new drivers, I mean, shafts. Think about you being an average guy having $800 shafts thrown at you anytime you want to try it. Wouldn't you try it?
Yeah, probably.
Obviously.
Why
Hey, I've
not?
got a new putter. Try it. Why not? But then there's a type of guys that, you know what? The guys that are successful are mostly the guys that are not constantly changing their products. I see guys out there every week changing their putter, changing grips, trying this. Dude, you're not going to get any better unless you give something a chance. Mike Shannon was one of the very first coaches I met out there. And he said, "Bernie, I'll give you one thing." He goes, "The average guy out here, if he's going to put something in play, if he's not giving it 6 weeks, it's not going to happen. Because you need to go through a 6 weeks process, look at your progress, realize is it working or isn't. But the guys that are changing constantly are not your guys that are successful." Granted, I've had guys put my grip in play, win that week. It's been great. They go through a process where, you know what? Let me change. But I would tell you 95% of the time, guys that change out of my grip, they'll come back to it. What happens after that? That person out there putting that super stroke, that means not, I mean, excuse me, like the Rolex watch concept back in their head, it's kind of like, maybe the Rolex watch is better. Maybe I should go back and forth. It's just so much goes on out there. But I think the guys that like Tony Finau has been in my grip. All three of his wins are in my grip. I met Tony Finau when he was a junior golfer playing the junior publics at Doral when I worked out there. When I got out on tour, I reintroduced myself to Tony. He said, "You probably don't remember me. I met you when you were 13 years old. You and your dad and your brother." He goes, "Oh, great. What are you doing out here?" I said, "I have a grip company." Oh, that's really cool. So 2 weeks later, he played with Henrik Stenson. I get a phone call from his caddy. Hey, Tony wants to try your grip. I'm like, great. So I emailed him some grips, sent them out to him. I actually developed the 15-inch max for Tony because his hands were so big.
Yeah.
They weren't fitting on the max, the original max. They were hanging off the grip. So I developed a 15-inch grip for him, and he actually won the Puerto Rico Open with it not too long after it was developed for him. And his last two wins in the Ultimate are in with my grip as well. So throughout his career, he stayed with my grip. Probably there was one section of time where when we had a Peretti grip on there, but that was until he found the ultimate grip. But he's been in my grip, 95% of his career out there on tour. Henrik Stenson's been in my grip for over 7 years, so, and these are guys that trust and know that they've tried other things and know what works better. And Lydia Ko, for instance, too, she was in my grip, got out of my grip because she had a deal with another company that actually, was wanted their branding on the putter and on the grip as well. That lasted 3 weeks. She's back in my grip, so I'm actually now in the process of doing her a custom grip. I do the one with Tony Finau for his foundation and everything else. So that's the cool thing too, is about I let them know that I appreciate them supporting me. I want to do something a little special for them. I want to be able to give back. Hey, listen, how's it feel? I want you to have your own custom grip. What do you want? Special color, special initials. I think that's a cool feeling. Just let the player know that I'm there to support him as well. And that's like I'm talking about, how do you gain these relationships with these people, how you gain their trust. And I think that's a lot of it too, is when they know they can trust you, it just gives them great confidence to, know they can believe in you and your product.
I think I know the answer to this. So it's kind of a bit of a leading question, but just from the way that you've spoken here with me, it feels like the answer to this is pretty predetermined. But how do you feel as someone who's taken a business from its infancy to where you are now, a tremendous amount of success, a great amount of relationships, and still growing? But what's been more important to you? The feeling that you have been successful, or the journey to what is success now?
To be honest with you, it's not one thing. I think it's you got to look at the big picture. It's if you're after success for only one reason at all, because I think my initial idea when I first started this was I want to see one guy on TV using my grip. Literally, seriously, to think about that to where it is now, we're constantly on a weekly basis on the leaderboard, the top of the leaderboard, not only just the PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, the Corn Ferry Tour. To see my company and my product out there, it's like I'm not done. Great, that for some people could be enough success where what, I've accomplished this. You know what? That's all I need. No, for me, my original drive, my final drive, I think is I don't even know what it will be, to be honest with you. I know I want to be the number one putter grip in the market. I know I have the means of being there. It's just going to take a little bit more work. And a lot of things to get there have to be in place. But you don't get things in place unless you kind of have an idea of what's going to be the most important first and foremost. My big vision is not like, oh my God, I want to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
You know what? Because what's a millionaire?
To someone with money.
I've had over $1 million in sales. Okay, I can say, I'm a millionaire. Boom. No, but what's the true meaning of a millionaire? That's not. I'm not after it for the money. I think the success to me is being able to know that I'm the one that made it successful. I'm continuing to make it successful, and I'm not done. I'm not doing that. Sure, I can sell my company. If somebody came up to offer me X amount of dollars right now, I would say, sure, but you know what? I'm not going to say I just want to sell the company. I still want to be involved because
Yeah.
I know there's a lot more room for Garsen to grow. And I'm not going to stop until I continue. I'm just going to continue to keep growing it. And the fact now that I can actually have the resources with all the manufacturing back in place, it really excites me because I'm already thinking, well, what else can I do?
Yeah.
I'm already looking about, okay, now how can I rebrand this grip? How can I change this grip up a little bit just to show people that I'm still innovating and I'm still processing to make things better? I mean, there's other companies out there that might be satisfied with where they are now. Oh, I'm going to change the color. Doesn't mean it makes it a different grip. It's
Right.
still the same grip. shaft companies, they put different logos on it, different graphics, doesn't make it a different product. You know, it's like car manufacturer. You look at things now, things are changing a little bit here and there, but you know, things are kind of like at a plateau to a point to where you change a little bit of graphics, a little design. It's still the same company, but changing something in that company to make it better, that is, I think, is a part of being successful. Just that alone in itself.
Well, Bernie, I thank you for the time, really, because I kind of needed an inspiration today, and
I
you
mean,
provided one, and that was really great. And
no, I'm really happy because it's like I said, I'm really happy now the way things are going. Like having somebody else being on board with me, allow me to be able to be more creative in myself, and being able to put more time and energy into being out on tour and being focused on knowing that when I'm out on tour, I don't have to come home and bust my ass and do everything else. So I can kind of like, enjoy myself out there more because I would see the sales coming on the website while I was traveling going, holy crap, I got so much work ahead of me when I get home. Am I even have time to relax, And then here I go back at it again. So it's just really cool and exciting now to be more at ease and be able to focus more on the bigger picture and just continue creating.
well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk
All
to
right.
us.
No,
You're
I'm really happy. Anytime, I'm more than happy to get on board with you and give you progress about where we're going and what's happening. So,
I would
yeah,
love
I'm just
that.
really
We will
excited.
definitely do it again. So thank you
Yeah,
for taking the
definitely. Yeah.
time.
Oh, my pleasure, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you.